Some conservatives claim it is Judge Barrett's faith that could turn out to be her biggest problem, at least for some senators. David French at the National Review says Amy Coney Barrett is at the peak of her profession. She shares faith practices with millions of her co-religionists. Her faith experience is their faith experience. And if progressives seek to block her from the nation's highest court because of it, they'll betray our nation's founding ideals. Let's talk about it with former Arkansas Governor, Fox News contributor Mike Huckabee. He joins us now live to weigh in. Governor, what do you make of this conversation that was so pointed with her, especially during her Senate confirmation for the circuit court level, about what she really believes? The questions are sort of, so you really believe in the Bible? That's the tone a lot of people felt like she was getting.
Yeah, I was wondering, are we still in America? It used to be that we said that we didn't want a person to establish a particular religion. Now it seems like that people like the senator from San Francisco would say, you're acceptable only if you have no religion whatsoever. That's absurd. Of the Supreme Court, 5 are Catholic, 3 are Jews, and 1 is an Episcopalian. I could argue, Shannon, that we really ought to have an evangelical. But you know what? I don't care what the religious background is. I want a constitutionalist. I want someone who approaches the job of a justice of the Supreme Court with a very clear understanding that it's not their job to bring their personal views to their decisions, but it's their job to look at what the words of the Constitution say. Now, they can't separate from it. I'm refreshed that Amy Coney Barrett is a person who takes her faith seriously. Good for her. I'd hate for someone to say, you know, I'm a Christian, but I'm not much of one because I don't really believe that stuff. Well, then don't be one. Then I would say she's a phony. I don't want her as a justice. I like that she's sincere and genuine, and I don't think that ought to be a factor. It's going to be hard for some of these Democrats who were for her in the 7th Circuit to suddenly say, something happened, I'm not for her anymore.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely got a number of those votes. And key people like Senator Donnelly, obviously from Indiana, who is in a tough re-election race and will have to think very hard about that vote, should she be the nominee. Now, I want to read a tweet this weekend from Supreme Court analyst and author Jeffrey Toobin says this. He says, see the new U.S. Supreme Court clearly. Abortion illegal. Doctors prosecuted. Gay people barred from restaurants, hotels, stores. African Americans out of elite schools. Gun control banned in 50 states. The end of regulatory state. If that's what's coming, I don't think anybody is looking forward to that, Governor.
Shannon, quite frankly, I think in future medical school discussions, when they say here are symptoms of insanity, they're going to show that tweet from Jeffrey Toobin and say this is what happens when a person loses his mind. My heavens. This is such a departure from reality when these people go to these hyperbolic comments, and that was over the top. This is not what this is going to be about. Now, look, I think legitimately, I'd love to see the Supreme Court take up the issue, but not so much from the standpoint of the Roe v. Wade decision, which was based on privacy. I think the real issue that someday is going to bubble up to the Supreme Court is personhood. Because if it's personhood, remember, the 5th and 14th Amendment guarantee that a person cannot be denied life or liberty without due process. Now, if a person includes an unborn person, then they should be protected under the 5th and 14th Amendments. That is going to be a tough argument for the Supreme Court to deny, because they're going to be looking like they decide that some people aren't really people. We did that with Dred Scott in 1857. It did not end well. I'd like to see us maybe make a better decision this time.
Yeah, you know, a lot of folks on the left, when you talk about personhood and all of those legislative efforts that have happened at the state level, they've definitely got great concerns with that being a legal theory. So we'll see. But things continue to change. We learn more over the years, and we'll see. Monday, we'll learn who the person is going to be, and we'll see how the left and the right react. Governor, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Shannon.
I don't know why he would do this. I can't imagine his lawyers would want him to do so. There's no good that can come from somebody who's under a federal microscope. He's not a subject of a criminal investigation like the president. He's the target of a criminal investigation. That means he's very close to being indicted for something. We don't know what. I can speculate if you want. No good can come from trying to communicate to those who are trying to indict you through television rather than through your lawyers.
And I would add, if we got you to speculate, it would be more like, a connotation than real speculation, because you're looking at all the facts here. Real quickly, though, talk to me about the substance of what he told ABC, and then we can talk about what he might
The
say.
substance of what he told ABC, if it's true and if he means it, should cause the president sleepless nights. I mean, Michael Cohen was not only the president's lawyer, he was his fixer. That is, the president asked him to do things that lawyers don't typically do. You see this problem, make it go away. You know where to get the cash.
Which comes to the question that I've seen asked in different ways, and I don't know what they'll ask of Michael Cohen, but why did the president trust him? Is there something in his background? What about Michael Cohen?
Michael Cohen must have impressed the president. We're talking about 10 years ago when he first started to work for the obviously pre-presidential Donald Trump, as somebody who would take a bullet, somebody who would do things that other lawyers might not want to dirty their hands doing. I'm not suggesting that they committed crimes together, but it does appear as though Michael Cohen was involved in things that other lawyers wouldn't go near, like paying people for silence, like getting newspapers to say something different than what they wanted to say.
So why wouldn't he talk about that now? That $130,000 question, as Laura Ingle put it. I won't tell you yet, basically, was his response.
Again, it's hard for me to figure out what his game plan is.
Should the president be worried?
Yes.
Why?
Well, if Michael Cohen is telling the truth, that he who once said he would take a bullet for the president now can't wait to roll over for him, he obviously knows something that the feds are interested in hearing, and they will soon go through a procedure whereby he will tell them what he knows, and they'll decide whether or not they want to use it. Now, they won't do that until they have leverage over him, and they won't have leverage over him until they indict him.
We've seen a lot of bloviators. You've got Michael Avenatti out there for Stormy Daniels. You've got people who say, I have a disc here on Twitter, and I'll show it, and it's got all the evidence, and I've got recordings. But in terms of just whittling this down to real evidence, I mean, is Michael Cohen another one of those bloviators?
I don't think so. This is a real case. I mean, the government has more than 1 million pieces of evidence that it obtained from 4 search warrants that it executed on his homes and his place of business. We don't know what it is, but a retired federal judge went through all of it and found a few hundred that are protected by the attorney-client privilege and gave the vast majority over to the feds to allow them to use it and present it to a grand jury. We don't know what it's evidence of, but it's evidence of something that the federal prosecutors are interested in.
Now we've gotten to the point where your perspective and expertise and experience come into play. I refuse to call it pure speculation because you've seen so much of it.
You're so kind.
So what is it?
It's probably bank fraud. It's probably the borrowing of money to pay off obligations of then Mr. Donald Trump without telling the bank exactly where the money is going to go. So if you borrow money from a bank and say, I'm going to put a new roof on my house, and instead you use the money to pay a porn star.
Any amount?
Well, it would, in order for it to be fraudulent.
It's got to be above a certain amount.
No. The amount reflects the penalty. The amount doesn't reflect the crime. You can be fraudulent with $1. You're not going to get 10 years. But if you're fraudulent with $130,000, you're going to get 10 years.
I gotcha. Bank fraud likely.
Yeah.
Always great to have you on the program. Thanks for being on the mezzanine.
I love the mezz, as you call it.